Coming up, a 2-year-old kidnapped from her home. Calls to close an ICE facility grow louder. A man with a knife prompts a lockdown downtown. Plus, a rough start for the Bears training camp. A gas station explodes in the suburbs. And we test out the water slide at Raging Waves. This is your Fox 32 Week in Review.
We are still waiting for details on police about where exactly they found that little girl, but we know she is in good hands tonight, 16 hours after she was taken from her grandmother. At first glance, it may not seem like anything is out of place, but look closer and a broken window screen indicates something else. Neighbors telling us off camera the damage wasn't there until Wednesday morning.
We have a kidnapping just occurred.
2-year-old Autumn Shelley has been found safe, but police describe a terrifying ordeal.
It's a caller who says someone just broke into her apartment, took her 2-year-old granddaughter Autumn.
Police say at 4:50 in the morning, the child's mother, 22-year-old Angelique Mobley, and 2 unknown men armed with guns forced their way into the apartment and took the toddler.
They were armed with guns, took her gray Nissan kick. Callers not able to provide any other information.
Police say they fled from 48th and Michigan in the stolen car. As Illinois State Police issued an endangered missing person advisory, activist Andrew Holmes was urging the community to keep their eyes and ears open.
It's our responsibility in the community to help this grandmother, this family, and the Chicago Police Department locate this vehicle, locate this baby, and locate the perpetrators, regardless of the relation.
As we wait to learn more information from police about how exactly they tracked that child down, we are also waiting to learn if they've arrested anyone involved.
Advocates want the Broadview ICE staging facility shut down. Dozens rallied Tuesday at Daly Plaza.
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back.
The groups also marched letters to Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke and Attorney General Kwame Raoul, demanding an investigation into the Broadview ICE facility, where they say detainees sleep on floors, have no showers, and get just 1 meal a day. They argue the facility is being used as a detention center, even though it was just built for short holds of 12 hours. Speakers at the rally say what's happening inside violates basic rights.
We cannot continue to allow the Constitution being broken here in Illinois and the city of Chicago, where we're proud to be a welcoming city and a sanctuary city and a state.
Inaction is a conscious decision. ICE is unlawfully rejecting the right for our other elected officials to check into this ICE detention center. A detention center where they are failing to meet human rights standards.
Last month, 4 members of Congress, including Chuy Garcia, tried to inspect Broadview but were turned away. ICE says that facility meets federal standards and requires advance notice for visits. Advocates tell us they'll keep pressing until the doors close for good or conditions change.
There is growing outrage tonight in Will County, where the parents of a 2-year-old girl now face first-degree murder charges in her death.
Both are out of jail under the Safety Act. Lawmakers are concerned, and now the defense wants the most serious charges dropped.
Tia Ewing spoke with the suspect's attorney today.
First of all, the minor children are no longer in the home of the defendants. They were given home confinement, which means they could not leave their home unless they're going to see their attorney.
That's Cosmo Tadone, the attorney representing Edward Weir and Alexa Balin. He recently filed this motion to dismiss the most serious charge, first-degree murder in connection with the death of their 2-year-old daughter, Trinity Balin Weir. The couple faces felony charges for endangering the life or health of a child, along with 2 counts of unlawful possession of a controlled substance. The defense is also seeking to have the drug charges thrown out.
We have filed a motion to dismiss those murder charges based on a speedy trial violation. I understand that the way the facts look, but due process requires the judges to follow the law whether they like it or not.
Inside the Homer Glen residence late last year, Investigators discovered 9 grams of heroin within reach of Trinity and her 6-year-old older sister. Will County deputies also located 21 Xanax pills and multiple doses of used Narcan near where Trinity had been found, and the conditions were deplorable. Trinity's 6-year-old sister was taken into protective custody and later placed with the Department of Children and Family Services. As for her parents, well, they will be back in a Will County courtroom come August 11th. The parents have been going back and forth to court from their home, released under the Safety Act on court-monitored pretrial conditions.
Not only are they not in jail, they're at home getting credit for time served at their house. And it is just, it's heinous.
Tia Ewing, Fox 32 Chicago.
Rough night for the neighbors here in Belmont-Cragen. No power last night meant no air conditioning on what was a really hot and muggy night during a heat advisory. Right now, though, we have the sound of power. ComEd brought in this big truck. It contains generators inside. It is boosting the power in this neighborhood. This large ComEd unit was brought in to help the electrical system to keep it from failing during this hot weather. Power went out about 10 o'clock last night, and residents say they were without electricity for at least 3 hours. The streets were lit only by car headlights and a few solar-powered lawn lights. ComEd sent repair crews to the area of Diversey, Cicero, and Laramie. They're still here in Belmont-Cragen. Residents tried to stay cool and positive.
We were in the dark, and we are in the dark. We're still in the dark, so it got kind of hot inside the house, so we just out here enjoying the free air. There's a few cars here with their lights on and stuff, so we do think that they are in their cars with the ACs on, just trying to survive this heat.
Anna Silva in good spirits while she camps outside her house. The heat can cause a drain on the electrical system, but a ComEd engineer said that everyone is back online here with this unit attached to the utility pole, keeping things going.
And it ended peacefully. Officials were trying to avoid that man who'd been holding a knife to his neck for hours from hurting himself or anyone else. After a lengthy standoff that shut down a busy stretch of the Loop for most of the day, the man who had entered the lobby of the Dirksen Federal Building with a knife was surrounded by officers in tactical gear and brought out, awake and alert, on a stretcher.
219 South on Dearborn, 219 South Dearborn, male in the lobby with a knife to his throat. U.S. Marshals on scene.
The ordeal started around 11 in the morning when the building was put on lockdown.
It looks like they have Homeland Security agents outside blocking the doors.
As officers in tactical gear were seen moving around the building, police outside searched this silver Impala with Nebraska plates parked in a fire hydrant.
We were having lunch, and she texted us saying that there is a lockdown in the building. We were a little worried, so we came to see what was happening.
Baltazar Perez's daughter was in the building at the time. She attends Marist High School and earned a spot in the program Supreme Court and My Hometown. She's an aspiring attorney, and it was the first day of orientation.
I got here at around 8:30. Everything was going fine, went through security like normal.
But the group was meeting with a judge when this happened.
Lights did go off, and then the loudspeaker came on. They're investigating a threat in the first floor. Kind of is all we heard. Kind of confused, turned around. We kind of got distracted.
Downstairs, the man, still wearing his backpack and holding a knife to his neck, was engaged in conversations with FBI negotiators. Slowly but surely, the building was evacuated using a back exit. At one point, the bomb squad sent a rover in. As investigators started losing daylight, the situation remained largely the same. The man continued walking around, occasionally coming close to the windows on Dearborn, at one point holding a handwritten sign up to the glass that said, "Call a lawyer." Until just after 8 p.m., 9 hours in, police positioned themselves around the man and brought him out. And just before that, officials had towed that car they were searching from the scene. We are told the U.S. Marshals are leading this investigation. We are waiting for them to release an official statement that might give us more insight into this situation.
Our kids cannot be exposed to the detrimental health impacts of secondhand smoke. And that is why today I signed an executive order.
Tackling smoking on the CTA, that's the mayor's next goal. Mayor Johnson signing an executive order aimed at extinguishing any and all cigarette smoke on CTA trains.
Political reporter Paris Schutz was at City Hall earlier today and has the mayor's message.
This is a common complaint among riders of the CTA, getting on the train or bus and seeing someone smoking in that enclosed space. So today, Mayor Johnson says enough is enough. In a vaguely worded executive order, Mayor Johnson calls on multiple government agencies to tackle the problem. Police alone aren't enough.
I believe we issued over 6,500, 6,400 tickets. There has to be other ways in which we can enforce. Of course, PSA announcements, continue to educate people, but also working with the police department to ensure that we are using the full force of government to be able to crack down on these smokers.
Johnson even left the door open for tougher enforcement and a ban for repeat offenders. It comes as state lawmakers are considering a bailout for the CTA, Metra, and PACE. The three agencies face funding shortfalls of nearly $800 million. They've asked agencies like the CTA to crack down on crime and issues like homelessness and smoking. But 34th Ward Alderman Bill Conway says he's been calling for tougher enforcement for months and was left out of today's executive order. Quote, "It's great to hear Mayor Johnson finally wants to address smoking on the CTA with social workers, a PR campaign, and community meetings," he asks. Without data-driven enforcement of existing laws, this public health issue will continue to impact riders. But Johnson says the buck, or the but, stops with him.
This is my concerted effort to let people know that we're not going to tolerate this. And though we have a ways to go, the commitment is to ensure that we have a real smoke-free transportation system.
The mayor making news on another front today. He's urging the governor to think twice about signing a pension bill that would boost pensions for so-called Tier 2 police and fire employees. It could cost the city billions with no way to pay for it. He says the city cannot tackle another unfunded liability.
Hey! He's gonna get stars in his head if we get enough money.
Yes, I heard.
Yeah.
He's getting better, boy. I like what you guys are doing here.
You autograph?
Yeah, do you want me to autograph something else?
I get a picture with you.
You just want the paper towel?
Crazy.
That's as good as
these kids were hosting their lemonade stand in Wrigleyville. They're trying to raise enough money to get their hair done, like PCA's. They wanted the bleached hair, blue stars. Word got back to PCA, and he showed up, clearly making their day. He even gave them enough money to get their hair done, just like him. PCA is an all-star on and off the field.
You know, Anthony and I were saying this morning, honestly, had you not said PCA and you just, saw the video from afar, especially, he looks like one of the kids.
Right. Yeah. He's not that old.
So young.
He's not that much
so young and so talented.
Just like them, right? So cool we pay for their haircuts, too.
Yeah.
Right? Well, speaking of the Cup, shortstop Dansby Swanson pulls off a really impressive double play.
And the pitch. That one line caught and safe. And Dansby Swanson saying, please look.
Dansby he was sprinting towards second base as he was reaching to catch that ball, and he's out. What a play.
Wow.
Reflexes there. Swanson's athleticism on full display, caught the line drive and then dove to tag the runner out as well. They had a challenge to call, but ended up getting it right. He was out.
Coming up, Hulk Hogan passes away in Florida. The Bears are back for day 3 of training camp and ways to beat the Mosquitos in Chicago.
Still ahead, Hulk Hogan, a larger-than-life force who defined an era of professional wrestling, has died at 71.
He turned the sport into a massive business and stretches cultural influence far beyond the ring.
The greatest professional athlete in the world today, the world's heavyweight champion, Hulk Hogan. And he is proud of himself, and rightly so.
Hogan, whose real name was Terry Jean Bollea, rose to prominence in the professional wrestling world in the 1980s with his trademark handlebar, blonde mustache, and later his brightly colored bandanas. He was a 5-time WWE champion and a 6-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Hogan was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005, with many saying in the 80s and 90s that he saved wrestling. He also had a TV and movie career, as you know, with roles in Rocky III and his own reality TV show, Hogan Knows Best.
And obviously so many iconic moments, him ripping the shirt off, him saying, "What you gonna do, brother," when Hulkamania runs wild on you, everybody knows that, and then going into Hollywood Hogan, which was such a great heel, the fans not expecting that whatsoever. Just so many moments where he just threw curveballs at the audience, at the wrestling universe, and to this day, we all just respect him for that.
Later in life, Hogan became increasingly vocal about his conservative views. He endorsed Republican candidates, including Trump, in 2024 and appeared at the RNC, as you see. Officials say Hogan died at a Florida hospital today after suffering cardiac arrest.
And Lou is standing by to give us the scoop and the lowdown on what's happening out there. Let's get going, Lou. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, Sylvia, fans aren't the only ones that are pumped up. I'm pumped about this team as well. Despite today, day 3 of training camp, being another rough day for that Bears offense, Caleb Williams really struggled, actually threw 2 interceptions on 2 consecutive passes. But remember, this is just day 3 of the Bears installing a brand new offense, a number of new players on offense as well. So it's going to take time. Historically, the defense has always had a better start than the offense. All right, let's talk about the fans, because today was also the first of 11 practices open to the fans. They made their way in. Fans that won themselves the golden ticket. Guys, when these tickets went on sale, they're free, of course, but when you were able to grab them from the Bears, they sold out in 3 minutes. All 11 practices did. And Sylvia, as you mentioned, for a team that's coming off a 5-12 season, it's amazing. But guess what? These Bears fans, as you touched on, they are believing in the Bears, in Ben Johnson, and Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I think this is a wild card push that we're going to make. I think the Bears we got an offensive line. We got what we need. I think Caleb Williams is the guy. I mean, the only thing we could do now is elevate him, with Ben Johnson and his coaching style. Let's see what he could do, man. I think this is our year.
I feel like we're going to do good this year. Playoffs, I'm kind of skeptical on it, but I hope we do make the playoffs. But I feel like Caleb's going to break the basically passing Caesar record this year for over 4,000. And then I feel like there's going to be a big turnaround.
Man, I'll tell you what, I love the fans. 5-12. Let's get to a winning record before we get to the postseason, or even win a postseason game, or even what Ben Johnson said was build a dynasty. Now, again, if you're one of the lucky fans headed out here for the remaining 10 practices, get here early. There is so much to see. You can take pictures alongside Caleb, DJ Moore, Jalen Johnson, Montez Sweat, DeAndre Swift, their jerseys. You can throw on their helmet. My daughter loves to get face painting. You can get face painting. You can meet Staley. And you can also, once you get inside the practices, after practice, there's a kids-only section for autographs. Don't forget, don't drive to Hallis Hall. You have to go to Hawthorne Mall, take the Bears shuttle to get to Hallis Hall. Reporting from Hallis Hall, from Bears Training Camp, I'm Lou Cadellis. The Midday Show, Fox 32 Sports. Brian, what do you think?
Well, got one question for you before we get out of here, Lou. We know the offense is getting off to a slow start with Caleb Williams learning this new offense. At what point does it reach a point of concern?
You got to get into the games. You have to get into the practices. They're going to have joint practices with the Dolphins coming up, also with the Bills. If the offense is still having a difficult time after those joint practices and the preseason games, then you start to worry. Again, it's a brand new offense, a number of new players, and Ben Johnson. You need to be patient.
Okay.
Right. He's coaching them hard.
Yeah, and we can't wait to see what happens. We're all feeling good about this. Let's hope we don't get disappointed, right? Thank you, Lou. Ghislaine Maxwell is said to know all there is to know about her late partner Jeffrey Epstein's sex crime secrets.
Today, she met with the top DOJ official at a federal prison in Florida. It's where she's being held for her role in his sex trafficking ring. Here's Rebecca Castor.
At a federal courthouse in Tallahassee, not far from the prison where Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is hoping she'll shed new light on Jeffrey Epstein's sex crimes.
We had a very productive day today. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability.
But it begs the question, at what price? She's currently appealing her conviction and sentence at the Supreme Court, but the DOJ is not commenting on whether they'll offer her a deal.
The question is, does she have something that would be material for a criminal prosecution, not just embarrassing?
There's a bipartisan push on Capitol Hill to get the DOJ to turn over all of the Epstein files. Democrats don't like the idea of Trump administration prosecutors questioning Maxwell behind closed doors.
Trump is sending his personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, to try and execute a corrupt cover-up, potentially offering leniency to a woman who also abused the victims. Enough. Enough.
The sit-down comes several months after the DOJ told Trump his name appeared in the files and later told the public there was not a client list to release.
I don't think any of that's a surprise that he's mentioned the documents. I mean, of course, it's everybody who's ever met the guy is going to be mentioned.
Lawmakers on the House Oversight Committee also want a meeting with Maxwell. Her attorney says today's discussion will inform how she moves forward with their subpoena.
Here in Tinley Park, the mayor tells us he has been in touch with Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias, offering this village as a future home to the DMV if Orland Township moves forward with that closure. On Monday, the Orland Township Board of Trustees voted 3-2 to end its existing contract with the Secretary of State's office. That lease is just $1 a year, and Township Supervisor Paul O'Grady says wasn't set to end until 2029. Located at 149th and Ravinia, it is the 22nd busiest location in the state. The trustees who voted to close the DMV say there are issues that need to be addressed, including lack of available parking. Secretary of State Giannoulias tells us his office wasn't consulted and says it would be a disservice to South suburban residents to shut it down. As Orland Township Supervisor O'Grady launches a petition to reverse the move, the village of Tinley Park has already opened its doors, offering the suburb as a future home to the DMV. Mayor Michael Glotz says a local DMV is an asset to the entire community.
Yeah, it'd be a huge loss. I mean, now you got to go to either Midlothian. I think they have one in Joliet. If you have a CDL, you have to go to South Holland. So it is a big burden on the residents if they have to travel for this. And we're trying to do everything we can to keep them. Nothing would have to be built. We already have an open space that we looked at over the weekend, and that would fit them perfectly.
Orland Township Supervisor says that he is hoping to bring this back to the discussion table in next month's board meeting and says it should be up to voters whether to end that lease in a referendum question.
All right, maybe you've been feeling a little extra itchy this summer, swatting away the mosquitoes. If so, you are not alone. Recent heat and heavy rain creating ideal breeding conditions for mosquitoes across our area. My buddy George Ballas, he's an entomologist and he's the Midwest Regional Manager at Clark. He is here to give us some tips on reducing mosquitoes while still enjoying time outside. George, first of all, I asked you to come here because Mrs. Kaplan was complaining about the mosquitoes in our own yard. This time of year, as we mentioned, the heat and rainfall really contribute to the increase in mosquito population, right?
Yeah, particularly with floodwater mosquitoes. When we get the heavy rainfalls and that fills up some of the wetlands, and we'll see floodwater mosquitoes emerge during that time.
Okay, and we're also starting to see some of the dreaded diseases, the West Nile virus. You mentioned a new case. Where was this one?
It was in Lake County, so the second human case was in Lake County. We're seeing a surge now of West Nile virus positive mosquito samples being collected in the Chicagoland area.
And those mosquitoes are different from the floodwater mosquitoes. So they're different mosquitoes like different conditions, right?
Yeah, there's 50 different species in the Chicagoland area. And so some species like to breed in stagnant water, and those are the mosquitoes that carry West Nile virus. So when we have these heavy rainfalls, we see floodwater mosquitoes. And when we see hot, dry temperatures, then we usually see Culex mosquitoes or the northern house mosquito.
What can folks do at home to minimize the mosquitoes that are in their own yard? Obviously, you know, Clark goes out and you do the spraying treatments. You got helicopters flying. You got dudes on bicycles going through. But what can we do in our own yards that will limit how many of these, specifically the floodwater mosquitoes? There's some things we can do.
Yeah, so floodwater mosquitoes or northern house mosquitoes for West Nile virus, you can do the same thing, which is get rid of standing water around your house. When the heavy rains come in, buckets that are found behind your sheds or on the side of your house, anything that holds water can breed mosquitoes. So anything that holds water for more than 3 to 5 days, mosquitoes will start to breed in it. So early you'll see floodwater mosquitoes, and as that water stagnates longer, you'll see that northern house mosquito and West Nile virus starting to increase off of that.
All right, we're outside and the mosquitoes are with us. Yep. We can deter them using some of the products that you brought with you. What are they? And, you know, they've gotten probably better over the years than when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's many different formulations. The Centers for Disease Control recommends 4 different formulations.
Okay.
A deep base, which is what most people think, the gold standard. Picaridin base, which is a drier formulation. And then another formulation that we see here is oil of lemon eucalyptus. So those who are looking for a more natural solution for repellents, there's another option for you out there. There's another formulation called IR3535, a new formulation that we're starting to see gain market acceptability.
And you recommend if you're sitting outside, maybe having dinner or something outside, maybe put a fan on the table.
Yeah, so some people will say they don't want to wear repellents. So get rid of standing water around your house. Will reduce some of those mosquitoes, but also just using a fan. Mosquitoes aren't great flyers. So if you put a fan out, they won't come into that small area that you have when you're eating at the dinner table.
And any other maybe myths about, you know, mosquito prevention? Yeah. We were talking earlier about some crazy ideas. Listerine?
Yeah, Listerine is one that's come back. It's about every 5 years. People say that you can spray it on your porch and it'll work. Okay. Dryer sheets.
Your porch's breath is going to smell
great. It's going to smell exactly like whatever Listerine you're using that day. But any type of, those types of systems don't usually work, but people like to send it out through
the bounce
sheets that you tuck in your pockets. Yeah. So just getting rid of standing water and using repellent are really 2 main ways that you can get rid of mosquitoes around your yard.
All right, George Ballas, we appreciate you coming in here and sharing your recommendations here on how to be outside and not be sweating and itching all the time. Right, back to you, man.
Coming up, a gas station explodes in Berwyn. Ozzy Osbourne passes away, and tariffs impact school supplies.
And Don, this could have been so much worse. Remarkably, no injuries were reported after 2 main gas lines at this BP station exploded. And just take a look at the destruction. Crews are going to be here for a long time tonight as they get this scene secured. That blast caused a complete collapse of the BP's convenience store and sent shards of glass flying across the street. Until about 20 minutes ago, a fire was still burning.
It all started with this massive storm.
Hours after an explosion rocked the area, a fire raged on at the BP on the corner of Ogden and Oak Park Avenue, where the shell of the building is all that's left.
My boss was actually standing outside, and he said that the roof went up about 300 feet in the air.
Tom Zednick is a manager at Novi's Beef across the street.
One of my employees noticed. She said, "Hey, Tom, I think there's a fire starting."
Berwyn police say that fire was sparked around 3:40 by multiple downed power lines following the afternoon storms, igniting 2 gas lines.
The response was unbelievable. They were here in like 4 minutes.
Next to BP, employees at La Guadalupana restaurant hurried to get a table of customers out.
And I told them, go, leave right away.
Less than 10 minutes after the fire started, while crews were on scene,
was when the big bang came, and it was deafening.
I heard this big boom. It sounded like a bomb.
Giovanni Aguirre was working the register at Novi's, where the windows were blown out. Glass is still scattered all over the street.
It was just like something that I just seen in TV and movies.
Neighbors feeling the effects in their homes.
The house shook, like literally shook. I thought maybe a vehicle crashed into our house because that's what it felt like.
Incredibly, those in the gas station convenience store managed to get out in time, and no one was hurt.
My first thought was, I hope nobody was in there.
I'm just glad that all my workers and everybody, all the people are safe.
Right now, a street sweeper is clearing all of that glass from the road. The state fire marshal is also on scene, as is protocol. They will be launching an investigation. Nicor Gas tells us they also have crews here working to secure the situation. They are sharing that the safety of the public is their top priority. Now, thankfully, before all of this unfolded, evacuations were already underway due to the severity of the situation, just with that downed power line near a gas line that had caused that fire to begin with. So again, very lucky tonight that no one was hurt.
We are looking back tonight at the life and the legacy of heavy metal icon Ozzy Osbourne. As we have reported, the Prince of Darkness died today at 76 years old.
Joining us now to talk all about the legendary rocker, Klinger, an afternoon host at Rock 95.5. Thanks for being here, first of all.
Thank you both for having me.
Well, Black Sabbath, as you know, came onto the scene in 1969. The music was loud, dense, angry, marked a shift in rock and roll. Can you talk about the impact Ozzy and the band has had on the genre?
So interesting, because Ozzy and Black Sabbath together, I mean, after he left Ozzy or got fired, after he got fired from Sabbath, he went on and had an incredible solo career. 100 million records sold. So think about somebody that we know, if not ourselves, owns a record from Black Sabbath or Ozzy. So the impact for generations, and I talk to listeners all the time that have young kids and they're kind of cutting their teeth on Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. So like, I love that. You're kind of taking these little kids and turning them into old souls and getting them up to speed on these incredible records that are very old, but man, stand the test of time for sure.
Klinger, I remember, and maybe you do too, the first time I was a kid and somebody said, "Hey, I heard Ozzy just snorted a line of ants." Can you just talk a little bit about the legend, the mythology of Ozzy Osbourne, whether it be bats on the stage or doves, and what that did for his legend?
So that he was, you know, he even said, man, I'm an actor. So whether it was the ants or biting the head off a bat, the ant story is funny, Scott, because I was 13 and my buddy Jay introduced me to Black Sabbath and Ozzy, and stories like that. Some are like, they're of myth, right? And then you fast forward to only a couple of weeks ago when Ozzy did his final show with Black Sabbath, and they raised $200 million for children's charities across the UK. So it's like you hear, you know, these legendary stories about this wild rock and roller, and then he raises $200 million for these children. So like, what a balance that has created, you know?
Yeah, well, we knew he was sick. I wanted to ask you about this. 6 weeks ago, we had talked about it earlier. He reunited with the bandmates for his final concert. What do you think about that? Did anyone in your circles know that death obviously would come so quickly? Was he really that sick?
So he had been dealing with Parkinson's disease. So his final show with Black Sabbath and all of those incredible musicians, just 3 weekends ago, he was in a throne. So he was seated while singing. And his wife even said, you know, I want to set these expectations pretty low. What's interesting, his voice sounded like it always has. It wasn't affected at all, and he was just so incredible. And one thing he even said that he was looking forward to is retiring, being away from music with his kids, his grandbabies, his dogs, and his wife and lifelong manager, Sharon Osbourne. So I don't think really anybody really expected that. And it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you mentioned Sharon. Just real quick, we're almost out of time. How many celebrities, musicians, actors have the Osbournes to thank? That MTV show was the highest rated for years, the Osbournes. And how many people followed in Ozzy's footsteps?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. I'll answer it with the opposite. If you were to ever have crossed Sharon Osbourne, you'd almost get blackballed from the rock and roller TV industry. So like, you wanted to be on her good side, but what a fierce manager for decades. Not only his manager, but for Ozfest and a lot of other bands. And so you're right. I mean, a lot of people have their careers to thank. And he even said, if I never met Randy Rhoads, my career wouldn't be what it was today. He's had an opportunity to work with some of the greatest musicians in history.
Well, Klinger, thank you so much. Thanks for your perspective and your expertise, of course.
I'm so thankful to have you guys hit me up, so thank you very much. I'm a fan of yours.
And we're a fan of yours. Thank you.
Would you like to know how long you're going to live? Turns out there's an app for that.
No, I don't want to know. Yeah, I don't either. Actually, there's more than one. Predicting a person's death date is now big business.
Yes, this comes as life expectancy numbers for Americans are dropping. Alexandria Hoff takes a look.
June 21st, 2069. That is when I am going to die. This not so fun forecast coming from the app Death Clock, but there's another path.
We present your current trajectory, which is what the AI is recommending, but we also present a prediction of how much longer you can live with better habits.
Call it morbid motivation. Death Clock and a slew of other new longevity promoting tools are utilizing artificial intelligence and user-submitted health data to provide a wake-up call, and Americans apparently need one. The U.S. consistently ranks near the bottom of high-income nations for life expectancy, currently 81 for women and 75 for men. Americans also face higher rates of early death from chronic conditions, and the CDC just released that nearly 1 in 3 adolescents in America have prediabetes.
When you're able to identify these things that are a little bit off, you can correct them early on before they become a big problem.
Dr. Mark Hyman is the co-founder of Function Health, a membership-based preventative program. For an annual $500 out of pocket, a user's biological age is tracked through comprehensive lab testing. These are our colleague's results. She was quickly alerted to a few issues, luckily nothing unfixable. For those who struggle with appointments, there is another startup, Doctronic, an insurance-free AI doctor that can help users make sense of symptoms while waiting to see their human physician.
It takes 3 weeks on average to see a primary care doctor in this country, so somebody needs to step in. So we did.
Critics of this new realm of technology fear that it could actually dissuade people from keeping up with in-person health care or cause them to spend more money for blood tests that insurance would likely cover if ordered by their doctor.
Even though it's only mid-July, parents are already thinking about back-to-school shopping, but the president's tariffs could make it cost more. They would apply to all products made in the European Union. In tonight's Money Saver report, I find out which school supplies on your list will be affected the most.
August 1st is considered to be right in the heart of the back-to-school shopping season. Some consumer experts say you may not want to wait until then to get started if you want to avoid paying higher prices for 2 of the most expensive items on your list.
So, and it's going to primarily affect clothing and electronics, which are some of the most popular, most common items that parents or students purchase during back-to-school shopping.
Those items are expected to see big price hikes if the U.S. and its trading partners don't reach a deal on the tariffs initiated by President Trump by the start of next month.
I think consumers are going to be worried because we found that more than half parents already say that they're going to be spending more on back-to-school shopping this year compared to last year, even without tariffs.
Chip Lupo is a financial writer and analyst with Wallet Hub.
Because the prices of everything is still going up or still high. And again, the rate of inflation hasn't been keeping up with people's wages. And again, people are finding themselves still struggling to just make ends meet.
That's why he says it can pay to shop early this year.
Now is as good a time as ever to start your back to school shopping. And take advantage of what we call retailer price holds, because stores like Target are keeping prices flat right now on key supplies.
Plus, the current stock retailers have on their shelves was bought at pre-tariff pricing. Tariffs aside, Lupo says you still need to be strategic when doing your back-to-school shopping.
Look online for deals, because we found that 40% of the parents find the best prices online. Use price comparison tools, promotional codes, those types of things.
In light of the August tariff decision deadline, Lupo anticipates retailers offering more sales between now and then. When it comes to buying electronics, Lupo says you might want to consider buying a less expensive brand to save a few dollars, or consider buying certified refurbished from a reputable retailer. When it comes to clothing,
when you are sticking with the store brands, this is going to cut your back-to-school shopping significantly.
Andrea Warrock is a consumer finance expert. She says store brands usually cost about 30 to 70% less than name brands.
Look at the secondhand options through OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace. You could find backpacks maybe uniforms, kids' sneakers. You know, sometimes kids grow out of their sneakers really quickly. They haven't really been worn, and you can find used options for over half the cost of regular retail prices.
For your general school supplies, pens, pencils, and paper, Warrock says you can save if you still stick with the store brand.
I think that people don't realize how much more a name brand costs. And, you know, when school supply items cost just a handful of dollars, you're not really thinking that that's expensive because, you know, $2, $3 is not a lot of money. But when you compare one item versus another and there's such a big price discrepancy, and then you multiply that by the 20 different items you need to purchase, now all of a sudden you're saving $20 to $30. That's when people are seeing the big savings.
Coming up, Malcolm-Jamal Warner drowns in Costa Rica. Gabby takes a ride on a water slide. And the Fantastic Four share a laugh with Jake.
Many of you likely grew up watching The Cosby Show on TV, and tonight the nation is mourning one of its stars. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, who played Theo Huxtable on the show, has died in an accidental drowning. He was 54 years old.
Joining us now from TMZ is Branson Quirk. Branson, thank you for joining us. Authorities say that it happened while he was on vacation in Costa Rica. The beaches there notorious for strong rip currents. What else have you learned?
Right. Well, the details are still skim. We're going based off what authorities have officially released. We know that the Costa Rican police have officially said that what happened was early Sunday morning, just after sunrise, Malcolm had gone down to the shoreline there for a solo swim just after sunrise, entered the ocean, and then after about an hour, his family did not hear from him. He did not return to the resort, and at that moment, they had contacted authorities, and once contacted authorities, they had launched a extended search, not being able to find him. But then shortly after the search began, they did get notified by local lifeguards in the area who noticed that his body was brushed up against a rocky coral shore area, just about 200 yards, hundreds of yards down the shoreline there. And they did attempt to resuscitate him. First responders were called, and unfortunately that was unsuccessful. We do know that authorities are saying, just like you said, powerful rip currents may have been the cause. The official cause is asphyxiation right now, but this is just such a tragedy, especially the fact that he was there for about a week with his wife and his young daughter, 7-year-old daughter, and it's just so heartbreaking to read this today.
Yeah, it was really tough to look through the pictures of his family, too, that he had shared. It's just awful. Well, we all know him as Theo, obviously. He was in several UPN shows back in the day, but he's obviously carried on after The Cosby Show, wife and young daughter you mentioned that he posted. He was also on a lot of Fox shows, Accused, The Residents. What else was he working on that you knew recently?
Well, we know that he was also working on a podcast, and just as soon as a week and a half ago, there was an episode that came out, and people are now posting clips from that podcast is showing how much of a light he was. And you're absolutely right. Everybody knows him as Theodore Huxtable from The Cosby Show, but after this, he had, let's say, a multi-decade career spanning about 84 credits. Looking at his resume, very, very impressive. We know he actually was Emmy nominated too for That Cosby Show, and he was working on several Fox shows that you had mentioned just as recently as 2024. So he had a very, very long career. And we know also, we just got a statement from Bill Cosby's rep. Bill Cosby did speak through him, and he said that hearing about this death was the same feeling as when he got the call back in 1997 for his own son's murder. Ennis Cosby saying that the two used to play together as kids. And he said the last time that he had spoken to Malcolm, he said that he felt that he was changing the world, and Bill said that he continued to change the world and be a light. So it's just, again, so heartbreaking, and we're going to continue to see more celebrities come out. We've heard from Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Hudson, and many, many more, as well as other co-stars on The Cosby Show.
Well, thank you, Branson. I remember seeing him as a child. You know, when I grew up, his grandfather was still here and worked in Chicago, and he'd come visit in the summer. So he would come here a lot, too. Thanks for being with us.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Well, Fox Entertainment has released a statement on Warner's passing, and it reads in part, quote, "Everyone at Fox is heartbroken by the tragic loss of our friend and colleague, the extraordinary Malcolm-Jamal Warner. While his iconic roles from comedic to dramatic
are unforgettable and timeless. Malcolm will be remembered most for his warmth, kind heart, and the lasting impact he had on his friends, family, and fans everywhere.
You know what? I'm on top of the slide because I told you guys I have the suit on. I might as well get wet. It's early still, but I'm telling you, you can feel the heat already. I'm with Dave Johnson. Dave, you are with Raging Waves here in Yorkville, just 35 miles west of the city, so it's easy to get to. Yes. Let's talk about what people can expect when they come here for all ages, from young to adults.
Yeah, absolutely. Raging Waves is Illinois' largest water park, so we've got 32 water slides across 58 acres. We're here at the Three Sisters, which are 3 of those aforementioned water slides. Lazy River, wave pool, kids areas, really everything that you want for the family day out this summertime.
I know that we have our talented drone team up so you can see an aerial view. Of course, the park doesn't open until 10, but we have some regulars out helping us make sure that this slide is nice and safe for me to go down. Let's talk about some of the new stuff that you can see here at Raging Waves, because I know that this has been a staple for a lot of people in Chicagoland for a while.
Yeah, well, we saw some of the cabanas earlier and some of the enhancements, including the video wall at the wave pool. We've also got some new menu selections, like these specialized cocktails. Cheers.
Cheers, I forgot about those.
Yeah, we've got the Pirate's Punch in your hand. I've got the Shark Bite right here. Very refreshing on a hot summer day like today. And we got all kinds of other great food options across the park, as well as all the fun that there is to be had here at Raging Waves.
Yeah, what are some people's reaction when they do go down some of these slides for the first time?
It's exhilaration and refreshment, I would say, because on a hot summer day, that's exactly what you want.
You know, also I like it, Dave, because you have different levels of slides, right? You have some for the younger kids, you have some for the big kids, like maybe this blue one to the right of us, and also some other ones that I don't even want to look at because they might make me sick. Do you find that that's why people like coming here? There's everything?
Yeah, we got something for every level of thrill seeker. So these are kind of in the middle tier. They're going to be a lot of fun. The slide right before us here, this pink one, is dark inside, so that adds a little extra twist. But if you're looking for something calm, we've got that. If you're looking for something even more extreme, we've got things like PJ's Plummet that are awaiting your thrill seeker's heart.
Okay, before I go down the slide, if people are interested in coming here, because I'm telling you, it's beautiful, what do they need to know?
Well, you can go to ragingwaves.com. You can find our current endless summer sale deals on one-day tickets and season passes. Sunscreen, water, it's all a great idea.
Okay, Dave, I'm going to pass over the microphone to you. Okay. You're going to give some light commentary as I go down the pink one. That's the one you chose for me, and I hope you didn't choose wrong. Okay, I'll see you guys at the bottom.
All right.
I'm going to get in. Going to give me a little bit of direction here, if you don't mind.
All right. Yep. Let me hold the tube.
I got it.
Yep. And whenever you're ready,
woo, I'm already wet. All right.
I'm going to push you down the slide. Hold on and enjoy. And Gabby on her way. Screams coming from the slide. She's in darkness. Twists and turns left and right here at Raging Waves on the Three Sisters water slide. And she's going to emerge here in just a few seconds.
Gabby.
My favorite part is that she has all of her makeup on, and I don't think she even got a smudge, you know? Beautiful.
I love it. Oh, Gabby's a good sport. She's such a good, you know, just a few weeks ago, she was on the roller coaster for us. Now this, yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Amazing. Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
No.
What time is it, Ben?
No, Johnny.
Say it!
I don't wanna!
Say it!
Marvel's first family is stretching their way into theaters this weekend, and Fox 32 was the only station in town to speak with the entire cast of the Fantastic Four First Steps.
We kind of got a little Fantastic Four vibe.
We do.
We need a theme song that has the title built into, like, good day, good day. Since the Marvel Cinematic Universe kicked off with Iron Man back in 2008, fans have been asking for the Fantastic Four to join the Avengers, and it's going to happen next year. But first, they're getting their own movie that opens in theaters this weekend. It's called The Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, when the movie starts out, the Fantastic Four Four are already assembled. This is not an origin story. In fact, when we meet them, they're kind of celebrities. Their faces are on a million different products. So when I spoke with Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss-Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn, I wanted to know about the different weird places they've seen their faces. And apparently the weirdest was on the inside of someone's thigh.
Oh. I love that whenever we meet the Fantastic Four, they're already celebrities. In fact, their faces are kind of all over everything. They're on cereal boxes. They're on different products. I mean, right now, you guys are on Pop-Tarts, which is the ultimate sign of success. I'd love to know, you've been in so many major projects, what's the weirdest place you've ever seen your face on something, and maybe the weirdest place you've seen one of your co-stars' faces on something?
And in the thigh is not somewhere where you should see your face tattooed on someone's body.
Whoa. Did you see your face on someone's inner thigh?
I did, yeah.
Wow. How does that even...
You want to see?
I do.
I was at a kind of meet and greet thing, and someone said, like, look, this, and I was like, why have you done that? And Evan was like, because I love it. Because I wanted to.
You're an icon.
Why wouldn't you? Is it a small or is it the full inner thigh?
No, it's half and half. So when I go like this, you get the full queen.
The full queen. Yeah.
You know what? The Avengers have all got a tattoo, haven't they? They've all got shared tattoos. So maybe that's what we all need as
You
a
guys
shared.
all get the full Quinn.
Yeah, we get the full Quinn as a four. The quartet.
I knew during that moment Disney was just going, oh my God, this is a Disney movie. What are you doing? This is a Disney movie.
This has been your Fox 32 Week in Review. See you next week.